Are we live on Facebook?
Now we're live.
Hi Facebook, hi everyone. It's your hostess with the mostest, Cristian Portilla. I'm here with Jorge Casanova from Dios, Did It Ourselves, the streetwear brand. Tonight we are doing the interview for Meet Them Mondays. Make sure to listen to the audio file after on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, watch the video on YouTube, everywhere really, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, we stream all over the place. I just want you to check us out here in the studio. Georgie, how you doing?
Good. I appreciate you having me.
I'm so excited to meet you. So, we already got that going. I'm about to start here the recording for the audio.
Cool.
And yeah, can you count me in? Can you give me like a 3, 2, 1?
3, 2, 1?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Peace world, welcome to Meet Them Mondays, a show about the wins and losses on the road to success. I'm your host, Cristian Portilla, and tonight I'm in the studio with Jorge Casanova, aka Jorge, the co-founder of Dios, Did It Ourselves, the Houston-based streetwear brand. How are you, Jorge?
I'm good. I appreciate you having me.
So I saw you guys were doing construction at the store today.
Yeah, I was there for a while. We had a really dope group of people come in and put like some more shelves and stuff because we outgrew the store within like the first few months, so we're trying to make some more space in there real quick while we still have it. So
yeah, how big is that store?
it's pretty tiny. It's like 300 square feet.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make the best of it and use it. But we didn't think we were gonna outgrow it that fast. But within like the first 2 months of the store opening, it was like, all right, well, we're gonna need something bigger soon. So
yeah, it's really cool. So I actually found you on Instagram. I found you and the brand. And the reason why I took interest was because there was something that was very like prideful about the brand, you know, like something that speaks to like I put on for my city type of thing. And I really relate to that as well. I'm from Miami, and so I always kind of like just always wanted to put my people on while I was out there. And I noticed the same thing with Dios. And so when we met, we started talking, and you actually told me that you basically started about 7 months ago, like less than a year ago.
Yeah, the brand's only like 7 months old.
Yeah. So what like drove you guys to this success? Like, what do you think it is? What happened? Like, just tell me.
Honestly, I think it's just like people keeping up with us over the last, almost 10 years, just keeping up with all our grind, individually, because me and my bro Les, we weren't always working, we got together in 2013, but even before that, he was doing his music, and I was doing like my photo and video work. So we linked up in 2013. We've been working since, but everybody who kind of watched the come up, they've just, kept up with us, bought our products, watched our videos. He had his own clothing line for a while. I was doing my own thing for a while, but we worked hand in hand. So it was kind of like, all right, we need to kind of fuse this and make something that everybody's gonna feel. So DIY was stuck in our head for like a couple, maybe like 2 years. DIY, try DIY. But then thing is, like, you hop on YouTube, you type in DIY, how much stuff's gonna pop up? Everything's gonna pop up. So it's like that doesn't really stick out. And the actual funny story is we were on a plane coming back from Japan from a tour that he did. And on the plane ride, I was just running through ideas on my phone, like, man, we gotta make this name work. I really want to launch this brand. And Dios stuck out because it kind of abbreviates to that, even though like ourselves isn't 2 words technically, so it kind of doesn't work. But I liked it so much, we wanted to make it work. So I told Les got like super hype, and we were just like, all right, I think this works for both of us, because we're religious as well, but we're not going to push that on everybody. So if you want to feel like this strictly stands for doing it yourself, it can mean that to you, and if you want Dios on yourself too, go for it. So it's both ways, and we started off with a few products, and just like that, took off, just like nothing, like naturally, and we were worried for a while, maybe we had to like push it and really kind of get everybody's attention, but it was like, as soon as we dropped, it was like everybody's attention just gravitated naturally. Yeah,
well, I mean, the message really resonates, especially for creatives.
Yeah.
It always feels like a DIY thing. But the truth is that you can't always do it yourself. Like, you end up needing a tribe, you end up needing your community, you end up needing a partner. So before we get into that story, tell me about Les. Tell me about how you guys met and like how that partnership came about.
That's kind of funny because so I was recording, like, this is when I was trying to get on, so I was trying to get any attention I could, because I was trying to shoot music videos for anybody, do photo shoots for anybody that would give me a chance. So I was recording like vlog interviews for a hip hop website like back in the day. It was like 2013. And I was interviewing all these artists. At the end of and these are well-known artists, like well-known Houston artists. At the end of the interview, I was like, the guy who kind of ran the website was like, yo, pitch yourself at the artist. Tell them like, hey, I know I just recorded this interview for you, but if you want to do a music video, I'll also shoot them too. At the end of every interview, it was kind of like, I'll hit you up. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Which I don't blame them. At the time, I had like 2 music videos on my website, so it's kind of like they were like, nah, I'm good, but I'll let you know. So we shot Les's interview. That was my first time meeting him. The only time I heard of him before was my homeboy had handed me his mixtape of him and was like, yo, this dude Les is fire. Check him out. He's with BHO in Houston. So I was like, okay, cool. So I jammed it. I was like, damn, this dude's fire. So when I was told we're going to interview him, I got kind of excited because, I fucked with his music. At the end of the interview, I'm like, yo, Les, I also shoot music videos. If you're down, give me a chance. He was like, yeah, let's link up. But he was the first one that was like genuinely like, okay, let's link up,
Yeah.
So a few days passed. I felt like he forgot. So I hit him again on Twitter. I was like, yo, just remember, like, we want to shoot this video. And he was like, all right, well, man, this must have been like a few days later. He was like, all right, well, let's shoot one. I'm going to sing the song. So he sent me the song. The song was fire. I was like, damn, okay, I want to shoot something of this.
Yeah.
Put a concept together real quick. We went and shot it in one night. I put it together in like 3 days. I was so excited. I was like, man, I want to put this together fast. I put it together fast. I sent it back to him. I think I still have the message. He messaged me back and was like, this is the most fire video I've gotten during my whole rap thing. Like,
wow.
So I was like, damn, that means a lot. But it's like fast forward and it was just video, CD cover. I was handling all his visuals. Every album cover was me. Every music video was me. But we worked fast paced, because I'm a person like I get on it and it's go, go, go. I hate downtime, like go, go, go. He's the exact same way. So before I knew it, it was just a year, nothing but work. Another year, nothing but work. And here we are, 2021. It's like we've been grinding.
Yeah.
So.
Are you into zodiac signs or no?
Yeah.
What sign are you?
I'm a Cancer.
And what is he?
Damn, what is Les? He's gonna be disappointed in me for not knowing. Damn. Yeah.
Do you at least know his birthday?
I have it in my phone.
Oh, Les.
I know. See, no, yeah, because my fiance makes fun of me too because even like my relatives will be like, "What's your niece's birthday?" And I'll be like, "I gotta check my notes." I'm bad with dates. Yeah, I'm cold at everything else.
I have a good friend who's a Cancer, so I can see that she's a very hard worker too. And so obviously you guys hit it off and became partners, no? What was that conversation like of just thinking about like, yo, we should really, start a brand together? I think that, partnerships and brands are really as strong as like the relationship that you have with that person is because you either have people that motivate you and like push you or just partnerships dissolve and creative projects don't get started because you're kind of like always waiting on someone. So like, how do you guys balance each other out and what was that conversation like?
I think that's the tricky part for a lot of people because it's like whoever you have next to you, you have to trust them with everything. And things me and Les go back so far now. That's my brother, I trust him with anything and it goes both ways. It's complete trust. So that I think we have to take in the key, like not that many people you can trust and you can have as your partner, but now it's like we're so far, we know exactly how we work. Les will, tell me an idea and be like, hey, this is what I have, but, let's create from this. And then I'll take that and it's like, boom, here's a collection of clothes. Or this is what the kind of idea I want to go this time. And we both put forward our ideas and just make sure that we're executing them. Because we're on each other, like, all the time. Like, I might forget something and he'll be like, hey, how are we looking on that? Like, it's in the same way for him. It's like, yo, we kind of need to shoot that photo shoot we said we're going to, it goes both ways. So it's like, we keep each other on our toes, but at the same time, I think that's what is the key. It's like you have to have somebody who you trust with everything.
Yeah. And so, what I like to interview people on is like, there's always wins and there's losses on the road to success. But I actually read something on Twitter today that said, it was like a tweet that said like, God, free the shackles of this generation where they think everybody needs to own a business, which is something I read. And I was like, man, that's kind of funny because one of the things that I notice is that like a lot of people cap about being creatives. Like they act like they don't have a real 9-to-5, or they act like they didn't have funds or weren't doing anything else on the side before they became that creative thing that they were doing. And so my question to you guys is like, what were the financials about this? Like, how did you guys start the money, like raise the money?
To do it?
Yeah, like to do it. Like, what did it look like for you guys?
Oh, man. I can't speak for both sides because obviously Les has his financials that he's been working with since he started. But for me personally, it was a lot. It was a lot of work because the only thing I could say, kind of put in perspective, my last 9 to 5 was in 2010.
Okay.
I haven't had a job since then. But to me, it was like, I'm going to do this. There's no plan B. You know what I mean? I'm not going back to a job. And that's not to clown anybody because I feel like if you can have a job and do your creative stuff, do both. Because you need multiple sources of income. So do both. But me personally, it was like, I don't want to work for nobody. I want to be my own boss. So I was taking on any project I could on the come up. You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of people don't even like realize like I was like doing graphics for the low. I was doing videos for the low. Whatever I could. I was doing quinceañeras and weddings. Like hit me up, blow me up, please. Like it's like okay, here's $500, here's $400. I'm just trying to take care of my bills. You know what I mean? Buy any piece of equipment I can. Of course, later down the road, I was able to work with big companies, larger budget projects. But it's like you got to start from that to get to that point. So as Les's music grew and his streams went up and his revenue went up, I'm sitting here handling projects for lower people getting to corporate clients. And it's like now we have two sources of income that are doing great for both of us.
Yes.
Now it's like also like, all right, we need to work on this brand that we had the idea from since day one. But obviously it took a long time to get there. We weren't able to launch this brand back when we barely met, but this was the best time to launch it. We're both doing great. Yeah. You know what I mean? Each of our following is strong as hell. Yeah. So it's like, all right, if we put this together and we launch right now, it's gonna go good, but it ended up going crazy. So yeah, I think that played a big part. It's like you have to kind of like go through the struggle and get everything up to the point where it's dependable.
Yeah, I think that you're right about that because I remember just like even when I was just starting Meet That Mondays. It's funny because we actually have something in common that I want to bring up to you. But I was working, saving whatever coins I could on the side, freelance writing. I'm talking about like I would take interviews on my lunch break, do interviews on my drive home, get home, write them, submit them, and I'm like, yo, where's my money at? Because I'm already thinking like this money is studio time, this money is a tripod, this money is a piece of equipment, like all of these things, that you have to hustle to get what you want. Exactly. It's just, and sometimes you get lucky, like you could take out a loan or you could have your savings or you could do all of these things, but it really just like, that hustle mentality.
To get it.
Yeah, to get it.
Yep.
And so one of the things that, I don't know if people know this or not, but for Dios, you actually do the visuals, you do like the videography, and you also make the designs.
Yeah.
So you guys do everything in-house, which I was really surprised because that's a lot, for like this one brain to carry this side. So tell me about the creative process. Like when does an idea come to you? How do ideas come to you, and when do they fully become like either a hat or a shirt or anything else?
Honestly, we start small. It'll be like a random text from like Les at like 11, like, yo, I like this type of shirt, we should do this type of thing on it. And I'm like, oh, well, we should do this type of hat to go with it, and then we should do this type of so-and-so accessory, and then it's like, yo, we got a collection. And it starts off with something small like that, but then it makes something big. And luckily I'm in-house, like everything's in-house, so I'm able to design everything and knock it out quick. And I'm the type of person, like if I go on a creative spree one night, I'm knocking out the whole collection that night. Like, boom, hey, this collection is designed, let's start ordering everything we need. So, it's mostly like that, just, little quick ideas from both of us back and forth. We toss back and forth whatever concept we got.
So how do you two balance each other out? Like what side of the business would you say that you are, and what is he?
He's creative to a certain point where he can hand it off and be like, all right, yo, this is the ideas we got, let's try to work with this, and then I'll be able to take that and make something. But that formula is kind of like what we had since day one, because it'll be like, yo, I got this song, this is the concept for the video. Your turn.
And then you think like, okay, this is the treatment, this is how it's gonna look, like this is...
Alright, let's make this into something big, Because it goes both ways, because a lot of people be like, George handles all the stuff, but it's like, both concepts come from both sides. So it's like, at the same time, I gotta create and expand off whatever tiny little idea we both come together on.
Yeah, those are the best partnerships, when someone is like, a little bit more right brains and someone else is a little bit more left, Like, I know what that's like for sure. And, I wanted to ask you about the collaborations that you guys do, because I noticed that you guys recently did a collab. Can you tell me about that? I know you guys had a big event last weekend.
Yeah.
So tell me what that was about.
We did a collab with another streetwear brand here in Houston who's pretty much like is on top of their shit. They call Slump. It's some really good homies of ours. And that one was kind of like in our back pocket. We wanted to whip it out at the right time. So we did that one. And we did an event last weekend. There was a shitload of people like wrapped around the block. And luckily we've been blessed where like every release wrapped around the block. So it's a good thing to see. But now they came with fire concepts. We brought our ideas together and made a really, really dope collection that really did really well. You know, pretty much like it seemed like everybody in the city was supportive of that. They were excited because it was kind of like, damn, they've been doing their thing. They came together, did something good. Because sometimes people try to pin people against each other like unnecessarily. So it's kind of like, oh, well, I feel like they're better. Oh, I feel like y'all are better. And it's like, why can't we just come up with a dope-ass collab? And then we like supporting our homies. We like putting our homies on in any way possible, shouting them out. Even if we don't got no products to drop, I definitely want to repost my homies and be like, oh, they just dropped this, go cop it. But at the same time, it's like, all right, we got a chance to collab. All right, let's do something. You know?
Yeah, that's so cool. And you were telling me that the collabs happen often, no? You guys are constantly working
We're
on
trying
collabs.
to keep them going. Like, we just did one with our homie. He does, like, art tables and croc charms. We just did one with him. These little cool little croc charms you can put on crocs. But
What's his name?
Zoe made it. He's on Instagram, but his name is Zoe. But he does some really dope fire artwork. But yeah, we linked up with him, did that. But that's kind of a thing that we like to keep going. It's like if you can work with your homies and put them on, you know, and like everybody can win. That's like the best part.
Yeah, and then I know you also mentioned that you guys are working on a future collab to come. You want to tell me something about that?
We have a few. There's nothing like set in stone for like a certain date, but we have a few that we're trying to work on and set up like settle dates on. But it's like we always have to make sure we're planning for the next one and the next one, because it's like I noticed that was the formula that made us win on the launch. It's like we're so organized. Like, yo, this month this month that. So we're keeping that going. It's like we're already planning out all our next releases just to be on top of things, because this is a little different for me, because before, when I was doing like my own creative stuff and my own creative releases, or if it was a hat releasing or I was doing a hoodie, it was kind of like, I want to do this, fuck it drops next week. But it's like we have a store, we have a following, everything has to be organized to a T. So it's like this date this date that. Not before it was kind of like, fuck it, I want to drop a shirt Friday, I'm dropping a shirt Friday, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a little different.
Yeah. And what I also noticed is that you guys have a really popular hat. I'm going to assume it's for Astros, the hit on it.
Yeah.
And I see everybody repping it, and I think that that's also like a good formula where you guys come up with ideas and concepts that people actually, you know, want to buy.
Yeah, we try to, because I mean, we're based in Houston. We're always going to show love to Houston, so we want to implement that into, you know, our drops, you know. At the same time, we want people outside of Houston to rep, so we can't always put H-Town and everything on, you know, that on everything. But we try to make sure it's diverse, but at the same time show love to Houston, because it's like that's the people who helped us open the store, you know, keep the brand expanded, you know.
Yeah, and so I want to actually talk about the pandemic. How did that go for you guys? Like, what was it like? Did you guys feel like, you know, you guys got hit by the pandemic?
Yeah.
Was it more online sales? What was it like navigating that?
That was weird for the first, like, half the year, because nobody knew, even like immediate homie brands that I talked to, nobody knew if they should take chances and drop anything, because it's kind of like everybody's going through shit. Do I shove product in their face? It's kind of disrespectful.
No.
It is 7:15.
Oh, 7:15. How about that? I didn't know alarms went off on Do Not Disturb iPhone.
Nice.
Hold on. Let's take that back real quick.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start over with the question just to regroup.
Yeah.
So navigating the pandemic through Dios.
Yeah.
And what was that like for you guys?
It was good for us. I mean, the first half of the year was weird. You know what I mean? Like I said, I talked to some of my homies. Everybody was kind of iffy about dropping product. They didn't want to put product in people's faces. That's not what they're worried about.
Yeah, you said it was disrespectful.
Yeah, because it's like you don't know if they want to be shopping right now. You know, they're worried about other things. Some people were struggling. Some people weren't. You know, you didn't know how to play it, how to gauge it. So at the same time, me and Les were also working on Dios at the same time. And it's like we had like planned a whole big event with like people coming through and like possible performances, and then COVID hit, and it's like, all right, we can't do that. But at the same time, me and Les had a conversation. It was like, all right, if anything, that's no excuse to release it, because that means that you can't do an event. So that means if anything, you need to drop the brand online without the event. So that there's no excuses now. It's not like, oh, we'll wait till December and doing it now. Like, do it. Release the brand.
Yeah.
So we were like, you know what, we're gonna do it. You know, because we just kind of want to see if people are gonna support, and we did it and sold out. Did amazing, and it was just like, damn, that was nuts because people are supporting right now when not everybody can support because some people are going through some things. But we kept it going, you know. All right, well, next release, let's see if people show love. Sold out, did amazing, bigger numbers.
Wow.
Every drop the numbers were just increasing, like more supporters,
Why
more
do you
supporters.
think that is?
Just perfect timing, to be honest, because it was like there was so much negativity. I think that to people it was just like, this is some fire good news, you know. And it was just like, damn, this is good to see when all this stuff is going on. So it was like, it was a rush of just support.
Yep, I agree.
And it felt good, and it did well, and then, you know, surprised us how fast and everything. So, and I even told some of my homies, like, you know, I've had good years, you know, and this is not to brag, because like I said, everybody's year, last year wasn't great, but yes, last year was my best year to date for my career.
I've heard a lot of people say that, like creative-wise and things like that, like you had to just get it how you could, and a lot of people did. All you had to do was really just find a way to work around it and make it work in your favor. Everything ain't gonna be perfect, but if you were willing to get off your ass and actually make something happen with what you had at home, it was possible. Yeah, I mean, granted, a lot of people didn't have that luxury and it didn't come out like that. But for the ones that did and were able to work around it and do things in a different way, it did work out. I would also say too, which was what I was gonna say. One of the things that I noticed about the pandemic and just kind of like what everybody was experiencing is that we were all dying to hear something good. Like we were all trying to have like a distraction from all of the crazy stuff that we were seeing. Exactly. And also, you know, some people, like you said, were able to support, some people couldn't. But part of that support was like, if I saw someone like you or even back home, I would have felt like, damn, I gotta help them out, because I can just imagine as a small brand what they're going through too. Exactly. So I think it's kind of one of those things in business and just in life where you gotta chance it, and you literally, there's no formula. Nobody knew what this was gonna be like before they did it. Whatever you could. Yeah, and so it just, you took a shot, like you took a chance on it. And it went well, you know? Yes, and exactly and you just you didn't know how these things were going to go with this pandemic. But earlier I told you we had something in common. And one of those things was that you mentioned that you used to work in a warehouse. Yeah. And I actually used to work kind of in a warehouse because I used to work in logistics. So it was connected to a warehouse. And I kind of want to know the story about your life before this brand and what you were doing hustling in the warehouse. Because I think it's always important to like tell the stories of like where we were before we got to here. All right, so because I know that was like a big push for you to. No, it was. It was, if anything, it was the push. You know, so I was coming off of my junior year in high school. Unfortunately, I got kicked out of high school. I remember my sister was like, "All right, you're out of high school. You know, you're not gonna go back. So here's your options. You know, you're gonna get a job, or you're gonna figure, you know, you're gonna go live somewhere else." So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get a job. At the same time, when I had left high school, I had a journalism class, so I was messing with Photoshop, stuff like that. A lot of my homies rapped, so I was messing with Photoshop, making shitty covers for them, stuff like that. So while I was working at the warehouse, I had launched a clothing line, and I was trying to get the clothing line popping. I was also working at the warehouse, and I remember coming home just like depressed, like, yo, I just fucking spent all day at this warehouse. I don't feel like designing shit. I don't feel like making nothing. And that continued for like almost 2 years. And I was still trying to make a clothing line. Clothing line wasn't going nowhere, but I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I was just printing t-shirts, just trying to get people to wear it. But I remember being at the warehouse and being like, damn, I don't want to do this forever. Like, this is terrible. I hate people being in charge of me. I don't like this pattern of the same thing every day, you know? Yeah. So I was like, if I leave, I'm gonna have to fucking get on it, because, you know, bills still need to be paid. You know, you need to figure out what you're gonna do. Yeah, facts. So I was like, fuck it, I'm leaving. You know, I'm dipping. I remember calling my girlfriend at the time and being like, yo, come pick me up from here. I didn't have a car. I called my girlfriend. I was like, okay, come pick me up. I don't want to do this anymore. She's like, you sure? I'm like, yeah. So she came. Did anything happen that day that you were just like, fuck it? Or... Yes. Man, okay.
So this is what it was a learning lesson for me.
Yeah.
So we had a boss in charge of the warehouse. It was only 2 workers, me and another guy. But it was like a medium-sized warehouse. Only 2 people were in charge. One guy stayed in the office all day. That was the boss. He ended up ordering too much inventory for the warehouse, where it overflowed the warehouse. So like 2 18-wheelers pulled up and dumped all this product, and we were like, boss was like, "Oh yeah, I gotta organize all this." And I'm like, "Damn, no apology, no nothing. That's way too much." So later down the road, and this is no diss to him, but I found out that he didn't even come from a line of running a warehouse, so he didn't know what to do or how to handle inventory for a warehouse. So that taught me 2 things. It's who you know, because he wasn't supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you're going to work under somebody and they don't give a fuck, you're going to get fucked, because that's just the way it goes.
Yep.
So that day I was like, well, I'm not getting fucked no more by a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. I'm literally, I'm going to go do my own thing. I'll be my own boss. So I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm not cleaning this up. I'm out of here. And I remember telling my homie who worked there, I'm like, I'm sorry, but I'm dipping. I just, I want to do my own thing, and I want to work on my creativity and, stuff like that. So ended up dipping. And that was the best decision I ever made, because I never went back. Yeah. Yeah, I never went back.
Yeah. I think that when it comes to like those, I've also had really, really shitty like logistics jobs. Mm-hmm. But it was what I said earlier. I was a late bloomer. Like, I felt like, journalism is one of those careers where you have to work at it. Same thing with you and your brand. Like, you just don't come out of school or come out whatever and just automatically get published by people, or work for like the New York Times or whatever you aspire to. Like, you gotta hustle to get in there. And it was just really hard to like maintain a job, want to do interviews, be up for like, I felt the same way, like how you felt after a long day at a warehouse. Are you really trying to be creative after a long ass day, like working with your body? You know what I'm saying? But it be like that. Like, I had one of my lowest points. I got let go of like a shitty logistics job as well, like a day before Christmas.
Damn.
Yo, crazy. And ended up working at like Tony Roma's, and as like a freaking like not even a server. Like I was like the I guess the hostess. Like when you first come in. Making like $3 an hour plus tips, something crazy. But I was like, I need to find something now to pay these bills. The Miami Herald, which is where I always wanted to work, was like a block up.
Damn.
And I would always aspire to like work there. Not even like, I don't know how many years later, I ended up walking through the doors of the Miami Herald, because I was able to get in, working my way up in my journalism career. And I remember driving to the Herald and passing Tony Roma's and looking at it like, yo, I remember what I was doing here. And I dreamt of the day, I cried the day I went to.
That's so fire.
Yeah, because it was like, it was a moment for me too. Like, yo, I fucking hustled to get here.
Get to that point.
And look at it, I got to be alive to see it,
That's so fire.
So, I want to talk about what's next for Dios. Like, what are you guys, thinking about releasing? I noticed that you guys have like the t-shirts, you guys have those little like merces.
Side bags?
The side bags.
Those are crazy.
You also have that chain, your jewelry, like the accessories. What else do you guys think about doing? Like, well, you guys want to drop like a ladies line, or what's next for you guys? Maybe some scents.
It's a mix of stuff, just all the stuff we always wanted to do. One thing we're big on is like, we want people to be able to like wear the brand and be proud of it. You know what I mean? Like, because we've done so much merchandise over the years. It's like people do like logo flips and all this other stuff, and it's like, we just want people to be proud to wear the brand, just like you'd wear anything else. And like, you'd be, real simple and clean. You just want the logo on you. We want people to be like, yeah, I'm wearing this. Check me out. Yeah. That's the goal. So if we can keep that going, but make sure it's quality stuff, that's the goal.
I also noticed that, you said something about how when you were working at the warehouse, you were also like just trying to drop, little shirts here and there. I feel like a lot of people want to drop t-shirts. There's so many brands that want to just drop something, but they just no sale that, like they just can't make it. So now having the mindset of what it was like when you were just doing whatever to now actually doing it proper, like what are the differences that you say that led you now to more success than what you were doing back there, like that you compare and contrast?
Man, the difference is just finding the purpose of why you're doing what you do. You know what I mean? I think I lost that early on because I didn't know why I was doing it. So it's like, if you can find that and mix it up with the purpose, you're gonna make products more faster. You know what I mean? You're gonna make things that connect more better. Because sometimes when you start out, you don't know why you want to make a t-shirt. You just want to make a dope t-shirt. Give it a purpose. Once you find that purpose or why you're making it, it's gonna go smooth, real smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too that consistency is also like
that. I'll be talking about that a lot to my homeboys. That consistency be kicking people's asses.
Yup.
Because you can make something, you can make a fire t-shirt. You know what I mean? And then like, all right, you don't drop shit for 3 months. That's all it takes for people to lose their attention span on you, and it's like, that's it. You know?
Yeah, I talk about this too, like within my circle of people, because even like when it comes to doing journalism or when it comes to doing music for less, like you're always as good as your last project. You know what I mean? You're always as good as your last article. You're always as good as your last song. And I talk about that with my mom too. Like I noticed too that you have this thing on your Instagram highlights where you call it free game.
Yeah.
And you
a
like
little bit.
Like,
I haven't done it in a while. I need to add some more stuff to it.
Yeah, but I think that's important for people.
Yeah.
Like that you give them this advice, because I was looking through it and I was like, man, I agree with a lot of those things. Like maybe it was something like free game that you recently learned that you could tell people that like they could take advice.
Recently?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm trying to think.
Or maybe even something that you have like free game posted on your highlights that you live by.
I'm trying to remember the ones I have on there because like they come to me like randomly. I think we just talked about the consistency that should be kicking people's asses. So it's like if you want to have a relevant brand or even a company, ain't got nothing to do with clothing. You gotta consistently keep going. You know what I mean? You can't take long breaks because breaks and comfortability be like it's the worst. Because like as soon as you get comfortable and you're like, I don't gotta work as hard no more because people kind of know my name. That's a downfall. Yeah. You know, because it's like you're not working as hard as you wanted anymore. It's like now you get comfortable. So it's like don't get comfortable. Keep hustling.
So speaking of consistency though, I will say this, and I don't know if this has happened to you as someone who creates, but this has definitely happened to me. Yeah. Sort of like that writer's block or like that creative slump, if you will. I'm the type of person that I need to seek like constant inspiration. I seek constant inspiration through travels, through different places I visit. Yeah. Even these conversations, maybe some food I try. Like I need to be constantly stimulating myself so that I could continue creating. Yeah. I don't know if that happens for you, but I had to take a break from Meet Them Mondays too, just to like come back.
Yeah, you have something.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm big on breaks. Like I'm big on breaks. So like even if like it's a 5-minute, 10-minute break, like go walk outside, hit the PlayStation for 15 minutes, whatever it is, I'm big on them because it's like even for me, like if I'm working on a video or I'm working on the design, you're sitting there for so hours straight. It's not good for you all the time because your brain needs a little break. There's been times where I made a design and I'm like, this is fire. I'm not going to touch it till tomorrow. I'm going to go eat dinner. I'm going to relax. I'm going to watch The Office. I'm going to chill. I'm going to come back and I'm going to look. And then the next morning, I'm like, damn, I thought this was fire. There's some things I want to change on this. But that's not a bad thing. Yeah. So sometimes you need to step away and take a break. Just even if it's 15-minute, 20-minute breaks, like step away, relax. Because you're working on your own time if you're really in control. So it's like, don't rush everything,
Yeah. That's funny because I do the same thing when I finish articles or write. I won't turn in an article if I haven't like really slept on it. Unless I'm on like deadline and
like you gotta
something.
Get it. Yeah.
I'll sleep on an article, I'll finish it, I'll write it, I'll link it, I'll do everything, and then I'll put it away. Wake up the next morning and read it again, and I'm like, oh, I need to tweak a few things.
See, that's the best.
Yeah, that is the best. And so, speaking of like business advice, what has been the worst business advice that you've ever gotten?
Worst business advice?
Yeah. Then we'll talk about the best. But what was something that you were like, oh, I can't run with that idea. I can't do that.
I'm trying to think. I don't, because I'm big on like following my own. Not to sound like dickish, but I'm big on making my own notes and make sure I'm sticking to them. I don't think I've had any bad business advice that I followed, because normally if I heard it, I'm like, that's bullshit. I won't tell the person like that's bullshit, but I'm gonna be like in my head, I'm like, yeah, I'm not following that, that's bullshit. But one of the best ones I got, and I still, all right, there's two sayings that they kind of stick with me over the years. One of them is if you want something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. Yeah. So I put that into perspective a lot, because sometimes an opportunity will come up and I'll be like, damn, I don't feel like doing that. But then it's like, that might put me in the rooms that I need to be in. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Even though I don't fucking feel like doing it, I'm gonna do it. So that's helped me out a lot, because there's been a lot of times where I was being lazier. I just didn't feel like doing something. But I'm like, man, if I do it, it's probably gonna put me in the right places. The second one was, it's fire. I still use it to this day. It's don't take the job unless it's gonna pay one of your bills in life. Don't take the job unless it's gonna pay one of your bills. So put that in perspective. Somebody hits you up to do something. With that income that you're about to get, can you pay one of your bills? If you say yes, take it. If you say no, it's probably not worth your time.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what are you gonna do with the money?
Yeah. I think it's relative though, because I will say this: when you're starting off, it's kind of how you said earlier. You gotta take what you get.
Yeah.
To build those.
To get to that point.
Yeah. But then once you reach a certain level or a certain following or that vision that you have for yourself, that does come into play because you've already had X amount of years of expertise.
Your time's a little more important. From the beginning, you're a little bit more open. You know, you're gonna take anything you can. Now, even like for myself, there's projects that come my way and the budget's decent, but it's like, is the time frame okay? You know, am I gonna be able to do this on my time? You know, is it gonna be turned in the right way? Is it gonna look like what I want it to look like? The answer isn't always yes to that, so I have to turn down certain stuff.
Yeah.
So now you have a little bit more control, and then you can make sure the budget's right. Of course, back then, no, hell no. Like, back then, it's like, fuck it, I'll do it. Like, I just need to pay some bills, you know? So having that decision now is so fucking, like, it's so worth it, because back then, it was like, you couldn't.
Charlemagne the God says this thing where he's like, nowadays, like, the youth and people, like, creen que se lo merecen todo.
Yeah,
like,
just like that.
Yeah, like, they just think that they deserve it all, you know? And a lot of kids, like, have this mentality of, like, I just deserve to be in this room. I just deserve to be here. Like, I deserve to get paid, you know, $80,000 a year on, like, an entry-level job. And, you know, it's good that you have that mentality for yourself. But, like, if your experience doesn't match, you gotta kind of, like, step it down a little bit, you know?
You gotta be realistic about it, you know?
It's funny because I have a story about taking an L like that once. And I don't know if I necessarily call it an L, but it was definitely like a learning lesson for me. I got hit up for the New York Times, which is obviously like a byline that I would have really wanted to have. And so I got hit up by them to do an interview for XX Tentacion when his funeral happened. Because he passed over there in Florida. And so I remember like the money, like they were trying to have me out there all day, live tweeting and everything, posting the article, like updating it as people came by, interviewing I don't know how many sources, and like it was just a lot. And I also had my logistics job. So I remember thinking like, am I really, like, I'm gonna have to call out of work, I'm gonna have to figure this out. How am I gonna be posting on social media? Like, people could find out from work. Like, is that gonna compromise my daily bread, like, you know, tomorrow? But damn, it's that byline. They were offering me trash, like, for what the amount of work was.
For what you would do.
And it's in Broward. It wasn't even in Dade County. Like, it was a hike. Like, they didn't want to pay for gas. It was like, it just didn't make sense. So I remember thinking, like, yo, I have my street cred at this point. Like, I could ask them for more money. And when I did, I heard nothing back.
Oh, shit.
And I always felt like, damn, could that have been my New York Times, opportunity? I would have got that byline. And who knows what else I could have gotten? Or, like, what, did I play myself? You know what I'm saying?
No, I think, personally, you're going to ride with every decision you make. You know what I mean? But you got to stick to it, because at the same time, it's like, are you quitting? Did you quit that day? Did you quit doing everything the next day? You kept going, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
And you know what I did do? I always aspired to have a byline in Vice. And so I put that fire under my ass. Like, fuck, I didn't get the New York Times, but I'm going to get Vice. I'm going to get something else I really want. And I did end up getting the fire. So it was like a consolation for myself. Like, all right, this didn't come through. And I got paid what I wanted to for the article.
That is fire. That is
so that was like a life lesson too, sometimes and this didn't happen the next day. I had to work at that shit,
That's fire.
But it ended up coming through, so that was also like,
I went through a lot of similar experiences. Like, there was a lot of stuff early on that it didn't make sense, budget-wise, or I wasn't going to get what I thought I was gonna be comfortable with. And this is early on, like when I was just trying to get any money. So at that time, if it looked really bad, then damn, it was really bad, because I said no. But there's a lot of those situations like that where I was just like, damn, did I fuck up? But I'm like, nah, because all of them led to me being here, so I'm not tripping. You just gotta stick with your decision. But Yeah, there's a lot of, I've had a lot of scenarios where like a lot of known artists where it was like, it didn't work out, but damn. But even when I tell people like these are those artists, they'll be like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah, but fuck it, shit happen, shit,
Yeah.
shit don't happen sometimes.
And so I actually want to take it back to your background. Where are your parents from?
Mm-hmm.
How did you guys end up in Houston? And like, what was your growing up like?
Oh man, my dad's from Mexico. He's still there. My mom lives here in Houston. She was one of the only family members that kind of came to Houston. So I all the families from like the Valley, so Brownsville, which is like deep Texas. So
Okay.
deep Texas, right on the border.
Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of our families there. A lot of them didn't come to Houston or spread out into the inner cities. My mom was one, and I thank her a lot for that because. Yeah, I could have grown up in the country, but she decided to separate from her family, which is, really scary because if you have your whole, like, web of family in one area and they can take care of you, for you to be the only child to separate with your kids and be like, I'm going to take this chance, I'm going to go to the city. She did that. So it gave me the opportunity to, be raised in the city. Coming up was hard, it was hard, but I think that's what put the hustle in me because I saw my mom struggle and work really hard to try to take care of all of us. So that, like I always say to this day, the strongest person I know is my mom, and that motivates the shit out of me. Because even little things that she did growing up, I see them in myself. So she's real like knick-knacky and always working on something, or gets bored and is like, I'm gonna rearrange the house, And like my friends will be like, they'll come over like, you moved your shit around again, and I'm like I like it, it keeps me on my toes. But yeah, so. That all that just stuff motivated me, growing up in Houston and having that opportunity to be here,
Yeah.
So.
And you said raised all of us. So how many siblings do you have?
6. It's 6 altogether, including me. Yeah. Wow. So I have
big family.
Yeah, 4 brothers, 2 sisters.
Yeah.
So big family.
I think that when you grow up with brothers and sisters, that just automatically makes you like it just puts the fire in your ass. Like,
you gotta get it. Yeah. So and then they were all, even my sisters, like they were all extremely supportive. You know what I mean? It was never no, oh, why are you doing this? At first they questioned it, like, you're trying to do what? Oh, okay. I don't know much about that, but let's see how, I'm interested. And now it's trippy because, like, even like I told my friend the other day, I get all of the alerts for sales all from the store on my phone. Okay. So I got an alert with my sister's name on it, and I'm like, she's at the store. So I started laughing. So I call her and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? She's like, nothing. I'm like, you at the store? She's like, how you know? I'm like, because I get the alerts, duh. But like, everybody's so supportive, like family wise. So it means a lot. And when they get excited, it makes me, like, it means a lot. It means the world, because they're like, oh, the store's doing great. It's so good to hear, So
yeah.
Cool.
Have you taken your mom to the store?
Yeah, she's been there a couple times.
How does she feel?
I'll be on Facebook and I see like a new tag every time. It's like, my son's store is doing amazing. Y'all check it out. And she be telling all her friends about it. So it's really cool to see because she's so happy about it.
Are there other artists and creatives in your family? Like, where did you get that creativity thread from?
From my mom.
From your mom?
From my mom. She's so knick-knacky. She's always working on something. Every time I go over, she's on Pinterest. And she's like, look, there's this cute little bench. So I built the same one. Like, I built it with my hands. And I'm like, you barely got any room in here. You're still making stuff. Yeah. I remember I posted what my mom's, inside of my mom's house looked like on Instagram. And I was like, yo, this is where I get my creativity from. Somebody replied back and was like, yo, that looks like, I don't know, you ever been to like a Hobby Lobby or Marshalls?
Yeah.
They were like, yo, that looks like Hobby Lobby or Marshalls, because she has stuff everywhere, but not like hoarders. No, it's like everything she can make by hand, she's gonna make it. So I like a lot of the origins for like, DIY, all that, it comes from her.
Yeah. It's funny because, so I took my mom to your store this week, and my mom was here visiting me from Miami, and I was telling you earlier, first of all, I was very appreciative about how kind you were to my mom.
Yeah.
Because, I do Meet Them Mondays always pretty much by myself.
Yeah.
I am the face of Meet Them Mondays, so I go meet my sources by myself, I do my interviews by myself, But there's been a few times where my mom's been able to be present and seeing me do what I do. One of those are these celebrations that I do every time Meet Them Mondays turns like a year old, So like the Meet Them Mondays birthdays, I had a birthday last for Meet Them Mondays, and I literally just like the same week of the event just started posting it like crazy, and I said, whoever wants to come.
Yeah.
At least 50 people came throughout the night and just showed me love,
That's fire.
And there's been those little times that she can go. So when she was here, I was like, yo, Mom, I'm going to go meet a source for an interview. And she was so excited.
That's so dope.
And, obviously you saw when she went, she was like, all up in your face with the camera, just being really cute, supporting me. And it's kind of funny because, like, as our parents get older, we have, like, more... Like, we have more patience for them, or we appreciate them more. Like, even the things that my mom was kind of like how you were saying your mom, like, she'll be like, oh, I think this is a great idea for you to interview such and such person, or she'll send me a link, and look at this interview, this was really cool. And the same thing happened to me. Like, nobody ever said you can't do this. She was always, it's just us three, las tres mosqueteras, her and my sister and I, the three musketeers. And so she never told me I couldn't do it, and that always made me feel like, like, there's no reason why I can't. She believes in me so much that I have no choice but to believe in me too.
That means everything.
It does. And, like, it's funny because the same thing happened to me, which you said. Even specifically in this trip, there's just things that my mom does that I'm like, yo, I am your child. Just like the way like, there's no, like, everything of, like, I'm just, her essence is so, like, ingrained in me that I'm like, I just look at her. I had a few times, even how she was speaking English in this trip, because a lot of people speak English out here. And I'm just looking at her and I'm like, I'm so fucking proud of you. Like, look at you speaking English, So it's just been really cool to, like, have that support from, like, the city, like, for you, and same thing for me back home, and like the family, same thing for you. There was just something about your essence online and what you guys are doing that was just so cool. And, like, the motto, like, did it ourselves, that I really believe that that's the story of a lot of creatives.
It is. It is. That's why a lot of people connect to it. So that was the goal. You guys definitely did the goal. That was the key.
And so we're coming up on time, but I do want you to tell me, how can people follow you guys? What are some of the handles, some of the websites? Like, if people can't go to the store physically, obviously.
They can just hit diosbrand.com. That's where you can keep kind of like the drops. Everything sells out pretty quick, and we do pre-orders every once in a while. So, you just got to make sure you catch it on time when you can. And then we do small quantities at the store. If you're in Houston, you can always slide by. We're open Thursdays through Sundays. And you can hit us on Instagram for any inquiries. Like, it's Instagram, the handle is diosbrand. And then always, of course, check out Les's music. His handles Steak and Shrimp, Steak X Shrimp, and then mine's Georgie, of course. But always open to anybody hitting us up. Any questions? We love supporting and stuff like that.
Actually, before we go, I did want to ask you this: if you could design for any brand, we're gonna manifest for you. What's the brand you want to design for?
Man. I don't know. I'm open to anything, to be honest. I've promoted and worked with a couple brands in the last year or so that I didn't think I had a chance to. They didn't give me the collaboration, but I'm open to it. But just to throw some out there, like Reebok had sent me some shoes to promote. That was like a rush. Like Nike had sent me like 9 pairs of Jordan 1s one time. Yeah, that was out of nowhere. Man. I think
the liquor brands you collaborated to.
Luckily I was with Jameson. I worked with them for like 2 years promoting here in Houston. That all happened like at one time. So like all these brands were hitting me, which really tripped me out. But that kind of showed me like shit is fucking possible, and you never know whose eyes are on you. So always gotta make sure you're on your shit. But yeah, those are the brands that worked. I think I'm open to anybody who supports us. If they show love, I think that means a big difference. Because it's like they already support our movement. So for them to give us a chance, that would mean the world.
Okay, so those are big brands, but if you talk a lot about supporting Houston and like your local community, what's a Houston brand that you want to promote or shout out to for listeners out there that you're like, check out this Houston brand?
If I had to show love to like a lot of the day one people that have been doing their thing for a while, it'd be like Be Someone. That's a huge known artist here in Houston, a good homie of mine. Of course, Slump, we just did a drop with them. Some of the classics like Premium Goods, that's a well-known shop that's been here for since I was like in high school. That's the homies. Trying to think. One of the homies' brand is 75th and Canal. Those are, off the top of my head. That's how I can name drop. I think deserve the recognition. Deserve the love.
Yeah. Georgie, thank you so much for being here today.
I appreciate it.
This was so cool.
Yeah, this was dope. So this is probably the most intricate, but like smooth, natural. You know what I mean? Like interview style stuff. So.
Well, thank you. I mean, I'm not the host for nothing.
Yeah, no, that was dope. It was so dope.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being so receptive and,
sure.
and
Same
kind.
way.
Yeah.
Same way.
That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening to Meet Them Mondays. I'm your host, Christian Portilla, on IG at Call Her Christian. If you like what you hear, then share an episode with your friends, or to support the Meet Them Mondays mission, hit us up for sponsorships and ads, and please subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and leave us a 5-star review.
Hey,
Peace.
there you go.